All righty, people.
Yeah.
What's happening? What's happening? How we feeling? How we living? Hopefully you're having a fantastic day and you're ready for it to get even better. We were live streaming over on the Dynasty channel, and now we have turned our attention to the Redraft channel, doing a mock draft with you guys, trying to get prepared for the year. You know, kind of dip our toes in the water of redraft ADP, if you will.
That's right.
Been heavily working on my projections over the last couple days, and kind of trying to feel out where players are expected to go and what I think is values and what I think is overpays and busts. You know, all that we're trying to work out at this point. So I'm glad you're here with us. We appreciate you. Do us a favor. Go ahead and hit that like button to show some love. We have a like goal today of 50 likes on the stream. With your help, I think we might be able to get there. But how you feeling heading into redraft season?
Yeah, good. I'm getting a good sense of how I'm feeling about these players. Working on my ranking slowly but surely. And you know that's going to be out here in the next couple of weeks with my rankings. Ooh, my camera just went completely lost focus there.
Yeah. It does that actually from time to time.
I guess because I put my hand up, like I put it up further. Anyways, but yes, I'm excited. I'm once again getting a good feel of this redraft league or this redraft season, which I'm excited about. So
Daniel Macy,
can't wait to get closer.
92 days until kickoff. Our
Daniel Macy,
expert countdown expert. You know what I actually love, Daniel Macy? I'm gonna extend another challenge to you here. Not that you'll be on every stream. I know everyone's lives are busy, but you're almost always there with a countdown notification. We love that. But I'd love for you to also bring a trivia question every time you're on the stream as well. Not that you have to, but if something comes to mind, you're like, hey, this is the trivia of the day. I'd like to make it a little, a way that we open the stream up. We'll look for Macy's comment, trivia question of the day, and then we'll start streams like that. I think that could be fun. But welcome in, Daniel.
Trivia question.
We appreciate you. 92 days. That's almost 3 months. What's up, Gator? Welcome in. Styles, welcome in. We appreciate y'all. Thanks for hanging out with us. Macy says, I got you. You'll love to see it. What's up, TXK? Cajun. My bad. Matthew says, thank you for providing me feedback from the last video. Here's the trivia. Who is the most notorious defensive player on the Minnesota Vikings? Currently, as today, I mean, they just lost a big piece. I don't know. They have a very scary defensive player. Maybe Harrison Smith?
Maybe Harrison Smith. Didn't they get Didn't they get somebody from Houston? That was pretty big.
Man, that's a great question. I don't know former defensive
former player.
Vikings. Man, that's a great question. I don't know. I don't know much about my Vikings history.
Dalvin Tomlinson.
Definitely not. I mean, you got to put Jared Allen ahead of him pretty easily. I remember the days. They had some pretty nasty boys up on the line. I'm curious who you think. Gator says, are there certain positional rankings that are usually the hardest or easiest to do?
I would say the running backs and wide receivers are normally
hardest.
The hardest. I would say the mid-tier running, like the mid-tiers. When you get, I think you can easily do top 10 to top 15 feels pretty comfortable. But then once you get into the 20s, right, people are going to want to know, oh man, where should I be taking, you know, Kenneth Walker or Rashad White or Tony Pollard or Raheem Mostert, and that list kind of goes on. It's like, well, shit, like you really have to think about where you be taking them, you know. And the wide receivers, I would say that kind of spans a little bit deeper, or to where like I can comfortably tell you my top 20 wide receivers, but once it gets to that second half, like, okay, where should we be taking, you know, the Amari Coopers, the Rashee Rices, the Christian Kirks, you know, I
find
the rookies
rookies in general the most difficult to rank, just because we have an idea based off of historical trends what we should expect from them in their rookie season, but it doesn't mean that they're going to earn that role straight out of the gate with their team. But anyway, we are doing a mock draft tonight. We appreciate y'all. Hit that like button as you're joining. If people want to join today's mock draft, how can they go about doing so, Badaki?
Yeah, guys, join our Discord. Link in the description. As always, if you're watching this now, and link is always in the chat. I just put it in the chat. Well, I'm on the Dynasty channel, but link is in the chat there as well. Go join our Discord. Go to the Fantasyland tab with the orange footballs. Go to content releases, and that's how I will be posting that link. Where I'll be posting that link to each and every mock draft, whether that's on Redraft or on Dynasty. Okay, so if you're watching this later, saying I didn't know you had a Dynasty channel, yes, we do. And I'll send that link out now. It is first come, first serve, but in a time like this is a perfect time to join mock drafts with us, because as we get close into the season, it's going to be difficult to get into one of these. Okay.
Yeah.
That link is going to be sent out in 3, 2, 1. So if you're here now wanting to get as much mock drafting in, this is the best time to get in, because once again, early in the off season, not that many people are watching. I mean, look, we're normally going to have this fill up within seconds. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind.
And it actually did fill up a lot quicker than I thought it would, considering we only got 20 people watching the stream right now. But everyone's down for a mock draft, which you love to see. One spot left, but we will do one quarterback for today. Just a simple one quarterback, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, tight end flex. That's the vibes we'll go for today. One quarterback, PPR, tight end premium. All right, so 30 seconds on the clock. And let's have fun with it and try and wrap our head around where all these players should be going at this point. Because it's still early days. But the 101, big contention. Christian McCaffrey is probably going to end up being the consensus 101. CeeDee Lamb, I think, is in that conversation. Would you agree?
Oh, no question. We said this last time. CeeDee Lamb, Christian McCaffrey here. Now I'm on the clock at the 103. For me, Tyreek Hill is the next guy up.
Tyreek Hill. Okay, Tyreek Hill off the board. What's up? No problems. He says, hey, now finally back live. We watching. You love to see it. Thanks for joining us.
How we doing, baby?
So, Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson all go off the board. Then Amon-Ra St. Brown. Then Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is actually my wide receiver 2 heading into the year. So, I think that's a huge value to get him there all the way at the 106. Love the pick. Bijan Robinson goes at the 107. We obviously saw the reports coming out where he said that the Falcons plan on using him the same way that San Francisco uses Christian McCaffrey. I mean, that is probably one of the hottest reports. Makes your pants fall off that any fantasy football player has heard in the last couple of years. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like, what is a hotter report that we've heard?
I guarantee you, wasn't there another report last year of another running back that said I'm going to be CMC?
I don't remember that. One. That's why I think it's so hot.
No, there was one, man.
Was there? I don't remember that.
Yes. I just don't remember who it was. Or maybe they were comparing him to CMC, or they were doing something. They were saying something along those lines that this player this year is going to be utilized as CMC last year.
Okay. I don't remember that. I really don't. Damn. AJ Brown's gone. Puka Nakua's gone. Garrett Wilson is all gone.
Maybe it was Etienne. I don't know. I have to find that report.
I wanted to start wide receiver, but you guys are making it hard because so many wide receivers have gone off the board. I'll grab Marvin Harrison Jr. there. And then I'll grab Jahmyr Gibbs. I think that's a pretty good value there at the 201. I have a theory around how I will approach drafts this year, and I'm curious how it plays out today. So I won't say just yet, but around round 5 or 6, I think we can talk about the current state of ADP, the current state of how people are drafting this year compared to, last year or even a couple years ago. You don't want to follow what everyone else is doing, but also, I'll just say, I mean, I think we need to potentially go 0 RB as a strategy in every draft this year. The reason being is because wide receivers are going so high now that if you decide to go heavy RB in a draft, you're going to be left with really bad wide receivers. I mean, there's a possibility if you don't go wide receiver until round 5, Christian Kirk might be your number 1 wide receiver on your team. The way people are drafting has just drastically changed. Running backs are no longer dominating the first round of rookie drafts. They're no longer dominating the second round of drafts, mock drafts. It feels like if you don't get your wide receivers early, you're going to be stuck with guys that should be in your flex spot as your wide receiver 1s and 2s, whereas running backs are just falling down the board. Dalton Kincaid just went at the 208. I am not sure what's happening. That seems pretty high.
I mean, that definitely does seem high. Yeah, that does seem very high.
Joel says, I love the quality of running backs in the second round this year versus last year.
And, I would say, I don't know. I think I would disagree because, it's early, once again, very early in the off season. I think it has to be Chris Olave here. I mean, I would disagree. And look, maybe we can try different strategies because last time when we saw, our first mock draft, I did RB heavy. I guess I did anchor RB, which is, or what's the correct term? 2 running backs in the first round.
That's double
double RB. There you go. Yeah, double hero RB. And I got Deebo Samuel, Waddle, Amari Cooper, and I felt really comfortable with those wide receivers. Now, when you have 2 wide receivers, you're probably going to be ending up with, let's just see what these 2 wide receiver teams are going to be ending up with. Like myself here.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I get what you're saying, but the quality of running backs in rounds 5, 6, and 7 versus the quality of wide receivers is worlds of difference this year.
I would say I completely agree, but I think if you go, I think the strategy is 2-2, so 2 running backs and then 2 wide receivers. You shouldn't be, and obviously every draft, not your draft is not going to be panning out the right way every single time, but you should be, at least that's how I'm envisioning it. For example, right now I would take, oh gosh, I'm gonna take Derrick Henry here.
Okay.
For example, let's see who's going to come back to me at the 410 at the running back position, right? That's why, right now, I don't feel confident in who's going to be coming back to me at the 410 at the running back position rather than the wide receiver position.
Okay, let's see how it plays out, because I think pretty soon you're going to be like, shit, these wide receivers suck. And that might be around round 7 or so. And there will still be pretty good running backs on the board, but I could be wrong. That's just what I've seen in drafts. I haven't seen Jalen Waddle go that high. He was definitely going to be my pick.
I mean, Waddle. I got Waddle in the
4th
round last time. So
I don't think it's crazy at wide receiver 16. I have him ranked higher than that actually, but I haven't seen him go that high yet. DJ Moore also comes off the board. Pack It Up says, I think you're not getting sure things at running back past the second round. Here's the issue, man. Okay. We should really go back and look at 2023 fantasy football ADP and look at the running backs that people thought were sure things then. Let me try and...
I think what's hard about that is that that's every year. People think
if you look at the wide receivers that were taken, they did not kill your team last year the way that a running back did in the first round. I promise you. Last year,
I have to remember ADP.
in 2023. Why is this website not working? All right, Cooper Kupp off the board.
That's just so cold.
I'm going to grab a combination here. Cooper Kupp goes. I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Hold on. We're going to grab DK Metcalf. Diggs is gone, right?
Yep.
We're going to grab DK Metcalf. And we're going to grab Tank Dell here. I really like that, actually. Let me find a website that is actually storing ADP, because right now the website I'm using is just not functioning well. How are there no sites? There's definitely sites that hold ADP. Why is it so difficult to find?
Yeah, well, I've been trying to find that as you were doing that. I can't find 2024 ADP right now, or 2023 ADP. Oh, here we go. Maybe this one is working. PPR.
Okay, hold on. I think Fantasy Pros has it here. Okay, this was ADP from last year, Fantasy Pros. Let's have a look at the running backs in the first round. Austin Eckler. Yikes. Draft him as RB2. That was a huge mistake. Bijan Robinson. Yikes. RB3 did not return anywhere near that value. Nick Chubb. Yikes. Didn't return that value. Saquon Barkley did not return top 5 value. Josh Jacobs, RB6, didn't return that value. Derrick Henry didn't return that value. Tony Pollard probably destroyed your draft if you took him. Who else is here? Travis Etienne was actually a good pick. Joe Mixon probably didn't return value on RB11. Ramondre Stevenson didn't return value on RB12. Jahmyr Gibbs probably did return value. Breece Hall was a great pick. Kenneth Walker was fine. Aaron Jones killed you. Miles Sanders killed you. Dameon Pierce killed you. So, I don't know. If you prioritized running backs last year, the odds are it probably hurt you. Yeah, I mean, look, Bijan Robinson, he said, Vincent says number 9 overall is not too bad. I disagree, man. I disagree. You draft a guy, top 9 pick, the RB3 overall, and he finishes RB9 on the year. I think that hurts you. I think it hurts you really bad to not even draft a top 5 player at any position in the first 9 picks of a fantasy draft. I could be wrong. But I feel like that really hurts you.
I don't know. I Cooper there.
Those wide receivers are getting thin, aren't they, brother?
No, I like Amari Cooper. I was happy between the two.
No problem. Says that DK and Tank Dell combo's nice. I agree. Would you keep London for a 4th or Tank Dell for a 9th? Tank Dell for a 9th if it's a keeper league. Hero receiver is a new hero running back. I agree. That's what I'm trying to say, essentially. You're okay, Matthew. You're okay. I don't think you made a bad move there.
Who, me?
No, I'm talking to the guy who's drafting with us at pick number 5 when he went Waddle.
Oh, in the chat. Right. Sorry, I didn't realize.
Joel says that proves my point. This year, options are better than last year's. I'm sure we thought the same thing last year, though. I don't know how you can say that, but
I think it's just a cycle. Like this year is going to be. I mean, we don't know, but every single year it's like this strategy is better coming in, and then it was like, well, you didn't really get the best value. I think a lot of the reasons, not a lot of the reasons, but I think, think about the wide receivers. Think about Stephon Diggs in his return. Think about Justin Jefferson in his return. Think about Devontae Adams. At the time, Cooper Kupp didn't have a good return. I think the same thing could be said with the wide receivers. Jalen Waddle didn't have the best return. last year. DK Metcalf didn't have the best return. Devonta Smith didn't have the best return. Calvin really didn't have the best return.
Sure,
I think the
but none
same
of
could
those
be
names
said.
that you just mentioned outside of Devonta Smith killed you.
No, but
None of
when
them
you were
had a Tony
drafting them,
Pollard year.
oh, 100%. But like they also didn't have like I guess it killed you where I would say, look, it didn't kill you to the fact the way the running backs did, but it extremely disappointed you. All those guys that I just mentioned were going in the top 3 of those drafts and nowhere didn't return near the top 12. I would say outside of Devontae Adams, excuse me. Devontae Adams was a little bit of a dip.
Well, Jamar Chase would have hurt you because of an injury. Tyreek Hill, return value. Justin Jefferson, return value. Stephon Diggs, return value until mid-season. You could have sold him if you wanted to, but he was one of the best players in fantasy for the first 10 weeks. CeeDee Lamb, return value. Amon-Ra St. Brown, return value. I mean, bro, what are we talking about? I just went through if you go through the top 10 wide receivers taken and the top 10 running backs taken, it is worlds of difference of what you got in return. A.J. Brown, return value. Devontae Adams, return value. If we really want to look at the top 10 running backs and wide receivers drafted, it's not even close.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm saying when you go into your drafts, you would rather have the top, at least coming into this year, the way I'm feeling, I would rather have the higher tier running backs and going with the upside of wide receivers in the second. Like, for example, like,
okay.
Let's just say, for example, who in this draft
yes,
has...
CMC return value. Let's point towards the outlier in the top 10. But CMC is CMC. I mean, that's just different gravy. I'll grab Aaron Jones here. Get starting running back in the 6th round. But yeah, let's look at those top 10. Let's look at it one more time, okay? CMC, yes, he returned value. Eckler did not. Bijan did not, based off of where you had to take him. Chubb did not. Saquon did not. Derrick Henry did not. Jacobs did not. Pollard did not. Etienne did. Mixon did not. I mean, if you look at the wide receivers, Jefferson was fantastic until the injury. Chase was injured, but he didn't. I'll give you that. Tyreek did. Diggs did until at least week 10. A.J. Brown helped you win your league or make you to the playoffs. CeeDee Lamb helped you win your league. Devontae Adams was fine. He was top 12 to 15. Amon-Ra helped people get into the playoffs. He was fantastic. I don't know, dude. I think
when we're comparing the running backs and wide receivers, that window of success, when I say that window of success, the depth of success at the top tier at the running back position is nowhere near the wide receiver position, right? So I think that's maybe where I'm kind of seeing this. Sure, those guys didn't return value, but you know who returned value at the wide receiver position? These deeper wide receivers. For example, the Jaden Reeds returned value last year. The Christian Kirks returned value last year at some point in time. The Jordan Addisons returned value last year.
So you're saying there's more top end talent at running back is what you're trying to say?
Yes, there's more top end talent that I think, which is important depending on, which is the point. Oh, I'm on the clock here.
There's only 2 running backs who scored more than 18 points per game last year. Only 2 that scored more than 18 points per game. At wide receiver, there's like 6 who scored over 20.
Mm-hmm. I mean, once again, I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. I'm just saying that I believe it feels more secure with these higher tier running backs and getting the value. Like, for example, no one was expecting Mike Evans. Shit, I'm on the clock again. Let me just make a pick here.
Brandon says, took Jefferson second, managed to win a home league, picked up Kyron. Love to see that. Original says, heavy RB has been looking good to me. I don't know. I think some of these mid wide receivers could return value compared to mid round running backs.
And I think that is the perfect sentence. That's basically what I'm trying to say. I think the mid round wide receivers that we saw even last year, low end wide receivers that we saw last year returned better than what we saw of the running backs, right? And when you think of once again, you think of the Jaden Reeds that happened last year. You think of, I'm so cold. Mike Evans was a mid-round wide receiver. Nobody was taking that high at the time. Not mid-round, but lower than where he normally would go, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I
I just
mean,
don't agree. Like, the numbers don't add up to me on that. But
sure.
I mean, if you look at points per game scorers, it's kind of the opposite of what you guys are saying. But at the end of the day, the probability of a running back having a season-long injury compared to a wide receiver is much higher.
That's what we saw from.
And if you want to wait on wide receivers, that's fine, but you're going to be stuck with very average wide receivers. I mean, let's look at Team 1, for example, who is
that's
going...
what I'm saying. Like, you're not waiting on the wide receivers because of how good the wide receiver depth is. I can start off with 2 running backs. I mean, the best way I can say is like last draft. I start off with Gibbs and Saquon, and I got Debo, Waddle, and Amari Cooper. I think those are... I mean, according to the values, those are good returns at the wide receiver position. I got Jaden Reed as well. Like, yeah, I didn't get the heavy hitter in the Justin Jefferson, the Tyreek Hills, or obviously the Jamar Chases, but at least the hope and expectation going into this year is that those running backs are going to return, near those, right, near that value. And I think that's why I feel more comfortable going with running double RB rather than going with I think you're saying getting these later value running backs, because like getting these later value running backs is like Daniel Macy has Bijan Robinson and Zamir White, which is great. That's exciting. But like,
I think
you're not confident in Zamir White. I just don't think anyone's confident in Zamir White.
I'm confident in Zamir White to give me potentially just as much as Ken Walker is going to give someone in the 5th round.
Sure. I mean, that is... I would say Ken Walker is not the best in my eyes for value, but because I'm not a huge believer in Walker.
So
but like, maybe that could be the same with Pacheco. Maybe that could be the same with Pacheco, who I took.
Do you feel comfortable, for example, Team 1 is kind of like what I'm saying not to do this year. Do you feel comfortable with a wide receiver room of T. Higgins, JSN, and Christian Watson?
No. So that's not what I'm saying they should do. I'm saying like he's going 3. He is not taking... He's completely avoiding wide receivers and going with these lower tier wide receivers. That's what I agree with you. I'm not doing that.
Okay.
I'm taking 2 running backs at round 1 and round 2, and I'm going smashing wide receivers on the rest of those rounds, and then going from there. So I agree. I hate that strategy going into this year, because I don't love the idea of, specifically for this team, I don't love the idea of T. Higgins being my wide receiver 1, who's wide receiver 2. And with these injuries, Jackson Smith and Jigba, with the concerns and who is he the wide receiver 3, Christian Watson, can he stay healthy? I agree in that sentiment. I think if I can go and get, which is, there's not a good, perfect example here, a wide receiver around, a running back around 1 and round 2, and then hit on, a Cooper Kupp in round 3 as my wide receiver 1, a Deebo Samuel as my wide receiver 1, so on and so forth. I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I just think that if you look at the last 4 years, if you went double RB to start your draft, you probably were fucked, quite frankly. Like, just being honest, if you went double RB to start your draft the past 2 years, I know we love these names. I know we think that, Kyron's going to be a superstar, and I took Gibbs. Gibbs is going to dominate, but I'm sure people felt the same way about the running backs they were drafting the last couple of years as well. But if you look at the last couple of years, if you started double hero RB, it probably destroyed your draft unless you hit on the small percentage of running backs who did not get injured or did not bust based off of their ADP, which was a 1st round pick. So I get what you're saying, but wide receivers are more reliable in PPR formats. They're scoring more points typically, and you can stream the running back position a lot easier than you can find a streamable wide receiver. Yeah, you can find wide receivers down the board that are good flex options, but you're not finding superstars that you can stream. Obviously, Kyron Williams and Puka Nacua were the rare outliers at both of those positions last year. But I don't know. Like, am I really not happy with the start that Team 2 has here? Lamb, Collins, Evans, Addison. They get Stevenson, Warren, and Williams. They add 2 superstars at the onesie positions in McBride and Stroud. I don't know. All I'm saying is the people who have done double hero RB the last couple years, way more often than not, they've regretted it.
Sure. And I think, look, at the end of the day, it all is going to depend on health, right? It's only going to depend on situations because getting these late running backs, like there was only what I'm trying to think of the running backs that came out of nowhere last year. I think the first one I can think of was Kyron, if I'm not mistaken, or the only one I can think of.
Yeah, last year, late round running backs. Well, let's say running backs that were drafted beyond top 15. Brees Hall. Like, who could be the Brees Hall of this year? Probably no one.
So it'll be Brees Hall, Gus Edwards, probably James Conner.
Sorry, this is 2022. Let me go back to 2023. So beyond the top 15, Jonathan Taylor, James Conner, James Cook was a RB22 last year. Alvin Kamara was a RB23. DeAndre Swift was a RB25. Pacheco was a RB27. Montgomery was a 28. Rachaad White was a 29. Brian Robinson was a 31. Imagine if you got two of those names last year. One of those names. You got Raheem Mostert at RB38, Jalen Warren at RB42, Devon Achane at RB45. I mean, we're just continually talking about straight value down the board, but I get it. Obviously, you don't always hit on every name that we talk about, but
and I think that's what's very.
Sorry, I'm not trying to interrupt, but let's look at the wide receiver ADP right here, right now. Can you point to a single wide receiver that you're excited about in a redraft league? I personally cannot. I can point to at least 4 running backs that I am, though. I'll grab Tajay Spears, just as an example.
Are you talking about currently in the ADP?
Right here, right now, ADP.
Oh, okay, yeah, right, fair.
And I'll grab Jake Ferguson. I think he's a quality starter.
I'm not disagreeing with you when it comes down to doing what Team One's done, but I don't think that doing the hero RB strategy is completely out the window for me at this moment this year. I would still be comfortable doing that because of the quality wide receivers I can get around 3, 4, and 5. I mean, you're getting DK Metcalf. Like, let's just say you got Gibbs and Saquon Barkley, and then one of these Aaron Jones was a Terry or a Kirk or Roma Dunze. I think that is just as good. That is just as good as what you've done right here. And the reason why I say that specifically is because I guess for your team specifically, Martin Harrison Jr. is a rookie. So yes, rookie expectations should be lower, but maybe we should lean a little bit more on some of these other guys that we know that their floor is safer if that counteracts with the running back that you took the 2 hero RB, if that makes any sense.
Right, but we don't have a rookie wide receiver who's pairing with a rookie quarterback. I mean, this is as close to a Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow situation as you can get with Marvin Harrison linking up with Kyler Murray.
Sure, and I understand that. I'm just saying, like, I was just using that as an example, and I think that can be said with a lot of different.
In the 10th.
Yeah, that's nice. That can be said with a lot of different.
I
didn't think they were going to be around. I'm gonna take Brock Bowers here.
Yeah, Pat Frymuth in the 10th feels too early. Same with TJ. Considering we have no idea when he's going to play.
TJ is not draftable in my eyes right now. That's how I feel. Unless he's like your last pick of your draft. Sure, I don't think I'm taking TJ Hawkinson. And we spoke about this last live stream with the concerns towards ACL really late in the season. I think I'm a complete avoid unless he's like one of the last picks.
Yeah, sure. I get you. Yeah, I don't know. I just really think the way is focusing on wide receivers early and getting running backs late. The amount of quality running backs that are like round 5 onwards is shocking to me. Like a Pacheco, a White, a Mixon, a Walker, a Kamara, a Jones. I think that level of running back does not match the level of wide receiver in those same rounds. I think if you were to look at round 5 onwards, the value at running back or what we perceive they could do for our team versus the wide receivers in those rounds.
I mean, look, once again, I'm not disagreeing. I think they are valuable there, but I'm not excluding the wide receiver position at
Well,
rounds
that's where
3
you're
and
saying
4.
you would take wide receivers
I'm
if
taking
you
wide
went
receivers
double
from rounds.
RB.
Yeah, I'm taking
So
wide
that's
receivers as round 3, 4, and 5. So I think after round 5, I think it does drop. But I think the upside I mean, Jackson Smith and Jigba has the upside, I would say, higher than some of these running backs in round 6. Same thing with Jordan Addison. I would even argue that it could be the same thing with Christian Watson. I think there's a lot of names that we can argue on who we would rather have. I think we can easily say, like, I mean, Jackson Smith and Jigba or Ramondre Stevenson. A lot of people would rather have Jackson Smith and Jigba because of the upside, right? I mean, like, you think of the ADPs and you think of how you can structure your team. I think it just depends on your structure and how you go about that. Because if original didn't go the 3 running backs and didn't hit the wide receivers late, let's just say he got Kyron Williams or he got Nico Collins at the 211 and then he took Ramondre Stevenson. Was that value better? Was Christian Watson's value better than Ramondre Stevenson at the time? As we get closer to the season, we don't know, right? So I just think it's hard, and depending on how we all perceive these players as well, because yeah, you can get Tony Pollard in the 8th, you can get Raheem Mostert who is the top 3 running back, you can get Jonathan Brooks, who we're thinking, we can get Brian Robinson. But at the end of the day, these are all hopes and projections for these lower tier running backs where we feel confidence.
But that's our job to do that, is to look at historical trends and then make those decisions.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying you feel confident in the higher tier running backs in rounds 1 to 4 rather than 6 to 9.
Clearly, I feel better about the players that are drafted earlier than the players that are drafted later. But that's not what I'm trying to say. It's all right, though. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I don't think you're fully listening to what I'm saying. Then that's okay. And that's all right.
That's okay.
But again, I look at the running backs in rounds 5 and 6. Look at the wide receivers in round 5 and 6. Let me ask you guys, what do you think is the value there? How should that change the way that you draft? You tell me in the chat. Maybe I'm off. Maybe I'm completely missing it. But I think ADP, at the end of the day, that is what determines the way I draft. That's why I think it's important. As Quentin Johnson goes at the 12-3.
And we saw that flip last year, though. We saw a flip in how these running backs were getting higher and higher. Remember, there was a point in time how we saw. I wish we can look at ADP via each month on a platform, because I think Ramondre Stevenson was a perfect example. A lot of people early in the offseason were concerned about all these running backs that they brought in, and is Ramondre Stevenson going to be the same person? And we saw him going around the 7-2, and then as we get closer and closer to the season, he rose a round and a half. Not saying he was the 7th round, but I'm just saying as a hypothetical. Same thing with Monty. Remember early in the offseason when Jahmyr Gibbs got drafted, and then Monty started to rise, right? So those things can potentially happen. Same thing with Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara started to rise, and he was suspended.
Some of those are more best ball, though, because you're drafting before the NFL draft. But yeah, I get what you're saying. What's up, the Pound? Welcome in, man. Welcome in. We know you're grinding the best ball drafts.
Love, brother. Hope you're doing well.
Says, I think it's easier streaming running backs. I agree. Joel says, what's the earliest you guys would consider taking Sam Laporta? And do you expect to get him in your drafts? No, I don't. And not if he's going to cost an early 2nd round pick.
Oh my goodness.
And he is going 2nd round. But I mean, yes, he was tied in 1, but he wasn't even tied in 2 on a per game basis. And I get it, like he's probably going to get better. But you're telling me I got to take the tight end 3 on a per game basis last year as a early 2nd round pick, or a 2nd round pick in general this year? I don't think I'm going to do much of it. And I mean, if you look at what the tight end 1 was getting you over the last couple of years, that's typically been Travis Kelce, averaging around over 18 points per game. Laporta was at 14 points per game last year. I'm not saying he's not going to be good, but you're not getting like this 17, 18, 19 point per game advantage with Laporta in the second round. I mean, what will end up being the points per game difference between a Sam Laporta and an Evan Ingram next year? How big will it be? A single point? Will it be multiple points? You're betting on it being like 3 to 4 points if you're taking them that high.
Yeah, I mean,
you disagree?
No, I'm not. I'm not disagreeing. I think I see a huge regression for Evan Ingram.
You see a regression for him, okay?
The reason why I say that is because Christian Kirk was hurt the second half of the season, and Calvin really felt non-existent, and they just drafted Brian Thomas Jr. So Christian Kirk can stay healthy, and Brian Thomas Jr. plays the role that we expect him to play. There's regression. Now, it's not going to be like you shouldn't draft Evan Ingram regression. That's basically what I'm my thought process there with Evan Ingram.
No, I get it. I think I love Brian Thomas, but with him being a rookie wide receiver, I don't expect him to dominate target share like Calvin Ridley did last year. So I think Evan's going to get a lot of targets this year, but I could be wrong. We're going to try something today. We're going to try and get into an ESPN mock draft. We just want to see what it feels like, okay? We just want to feel what an ESPN mock draft would look like. I did take Jaden Daniels last, by the way. I am very happy with the team that I put together. Again, just focusing on that wide receiver position. The running backs just all feel good when you draft them later. I get it. Yeah, Aaron Jones isn't going to be a Saquon Barkley. He's not going to be a Bijan Robinson. I agree. But I just think the level of wide receivers I got was very exciting compared to what it could have looked like. But anyway, finished with Kyler Murray, Gibbs, Aaron Jones, Marvin Harrison, DK Metcalf, Jake Ferguson, Tank Dell, Deontay Johnson. We've got Raheem Mostert, Tajay Spears as well. Jaden Daniels, the X Factor. Badaki, your team.
Okay. Tyreek Hill, Chris Olave there, Derrick Henry, Zaza with Isaiah Pacheco, Dave Montgomery. Also have Calvin Ridley, Curtis Samuel, Jared Goff, Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers, Brandon Cooks with Justin Herbert in the late round crazy. There. That is absolutely wild.
Justin Herbert shouldn't be going that late.
So I'll take that.
Yeah. Matthew, who just donated $5, says, how's my team? First redraft in a year. I think, if I'm not mistaken, you're team 5. Thank you for the donation. Look, it's not exactly the way I would have drafted. I don't mind Amon-Ra St. Brown there. I do think Chase is the higher upside player, but Amon-Ra is a safer floor. I don't mind the Waddle pick. I don't think you had to take him in the third. I could be wrong. But the Dalton Kincaid pick, even in a tight end premium, that's just far too early. Knowing McBride went at the 411, that's pretty late for tight end premium, but even Mark Andrews goes that late. With those names, that's the type of move that could potentially kill your team. Knowing the other players that were available, an Etienne, a Kyron Williams, a Nico, an Olave, those type of names that were still on the board. And I'm also not a huge fan of taking Patrick Mahomes this year unless he goes a little bit later. Just with him having that limited rushing upside, I do think if I'm going to go quarterback early, I want it to be an Allen or a Hurts. Or even get A-Rich a little bit later or Kyler a little bit later. What do you think about the team, though, Badaki?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a tough one because of what you mentioned, Dalton Kincaid. We're not huge quarterback early people either. I'm not even big tight end early people either, right? So
yeah.
And there's just a lot of question marks specifically at the wide receiver position. Don't love the Chris Godwin pick. I'm not seeing a big bounce back from him. Rashee Rice, what's his situation? Cortland Sutton. So like the wide receivers definitely fall off in that second half there. And the running backs are not the strongest. Your Chase Brown is your RB2, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is a weird thing. I felt like you put yourself in a position to take advantage of the running backs later on down the board, but you didn't do that. You had a chance to draft a Warren. You took a backup tight end. You had a chance to draft a Jonathan Brooks or Brian Robinson. You took a Cortland Sutton, right? you got to draft running backs at some point. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just completely put them off your board. But we're going to try something a little bit different today, guys. We're going to go into an ESPN mock draft. Reason being is honestly just for our own research. If we're being 100% honest with you, over 60% of people who play in redraft leagues play in ESPN. So we just want to see what they're going through.
We can actually create a league and practice mock with those specific settings. So we could create one and just send that link to people.
I don't really want to create a league though, but I guess we might have to. Why don't we do this one? Expert 12-team head-to-head PPR. Snake at 1240. It's currently 1 out of 12 filled. Do you see that?
Yeah, I'll join this league. Matthew Magnificent is in there.
Let's join this one.
Hopefully people can see that.
It says
Expert
Zach's
12
honorable team.
Yeah.
I gotta change that. That's just lame. Maybe this isn't us joining a real league though, right? We're doing a mock draft.
Yeah, PPR mock.
Okay, cool.
I can edit my team settings.
Yeah, same. Just made myself way cooler. Right now, slots 1 and 2 are available. So again, like we said, we don't draft on ESPN, but hopefully you guys are down just to kind of take a swing at this. Oh, there's 2 spots available still, apparently. The reason we're doing this again is because the vast majority of like your average fantasy player who joins during the regular season, they play on ESPN platforms. So we just want to see what it looks like. We want to see what the ADP looks like. Honestly, that's why I was talking about strategy earlier. Whatever platform you're on, you really have to identify where the weaknesses are in the ADP, because that should determine how you draft. So I see Badaki's at team 10. I'm here at team 6. We got someone named Jamathan. We've got a Matt in here, a Prime in here. We've got a Dylan, a Darius, a Peter, a Bean Blazy 101. Who is that? That must be Macy.
That must be Macy, surely. You love to see it.
So again, we'll see how this looks. But for the next minute, while we're waiting, we're just gonna answer your questions.
Yeah, look, I mean, I can definitely see like maybe doing wide receiver, running back, but I don't think maybe just completely avoiding your top four picks. And I'm not saying you're saying to avoid the top 4 rounds at the running back position, but I think it could be crucial to at least take one in the top 4 and then maybe looking at something. Like, I'm still not avoiding here RB, but
the only thing I would suggest people to just think about is think about what a fantasy draft looked like 5 years ago, Badaki. Straight running backs for the first couple of rounds. You got to get them in.
Oh, bro, it was like straight 4 rounds.
The RB 20 is taken in the 3rd round, early 3rd round, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was so important to get your running backs at that time because you just did not have any quality starters if you didn't. That's the way it feels. But the opposite now. It feels like trends have completely swapped. 5 years ago, doing doing a wide receiver heavy draft was like, what is this guy doing? You know? But now it just feels like if you don't get your wide receivers in, you're missing out on a chance to get really good running backs later on. But anyway, we're about to go into this draft here. I don't know what ESPN ADP looks like at all. I haven't done a draft on ESPN in like 4 years. The draft is open.
Loading your draft. I think you have to do draft open and then it's going to be like, drafting in another minute.
Okay, we're drafting another minute. So we got another minute's time here. Someone's already on auto. How are people already on auto? Maybe they have to be in the draft or something.
Probably. They probably haven't joined it as of yet.
Macy says that's him. Vincent, we are just in like a regular, like we just found one on their website, but it's full now. Jamathan's with us. Love that. Love how Zach is the only one. That's just Zach. That's right. Just me. But this is about to start in 30 seconds. We appreciate everybody for hanging out with us. Obviously, we'll do this mock draft, and we'll see what the vibes are.
If you look at the ADP right off the rip, CMC, Brees Hall, Bijan, then CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver, 104.
Yeah. It could be different ADP.
Jonathan Taylor at the 109, where he just went in our draft at the 203 on Sleeper.
I do like that. The sound.
Yeah, that was loud as hell.
Dun, dun, dun. That was loud as hell.
Apparently, Bean's on the clock here.
Bean Blaze is on the clock at the 101, and he goes CeeDee Lamb, or sorry, Christian McCaffrey.
Not showing the draft, by the way.
So Christian McCaffrey goes off the board. Is there like a better way to view the draft board?
Yeah, I have no idea. Is these picks on the right? Pick history, maybe?
So they're telling me to draft Bijan Robinson, even though Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase are available. Thanks for your help, ESPN. Is there really no draft board? We're going to draft Jamar Chase. Maybe the answer is Anchor RB, though, this year. I'm not sure. Like, if you... I don't want to take running backs this early.
I'm, like, trying to figure out how the hell I can see this better.
TD says, turn down your speaker. ESPN is blasting. Is it really? I thought you guys couldn't hear it. Okay, so... Bijan goes, and then Jefferson and AJ Brown go. You're on the clock.
What am I pick 10? Yeah, let's go.
Somebody help, because I can't figure out a way to show the actual draft board. Does anybody know how to show the draft board on here?
I'm clicking everything right now.
Pick history? Is it pick history maybe? I guess that's it. That's all you can do. Kyron Williams is a first round pick in this league. Wow. ESPN is very different, isn't it?
Very.
So in ESPN, we have Brees, Bijan, Jonathan Taylor, Kyron Williams all going in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, give me Jahmyr Gibbs here. Come on.
And they're telling people to draft Isaiah Pacheco next. He's the best available player. This is chaos.
Draft help? What's draft help? My goodness, this is... I'll be honest with you, this is terrible.
Yeah, this is really bad. But I can draft Marvin Harrison Jr. This late.
Auto pick. I was gonna look on my team. Badaki, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Buka. That's hot. That's super hot fire, man.
All right, so just so everyone knows, Saquon went, and then Garrett Wilson, Gibbs, Pacheco. Pacheco is an early second-round pick in the ESPN. Then we have Devontae Adams, Chris Olave. Keep in mind, TX, though, ESPN's standard is PPR. So you can actually see that at the top. It says PPR mock draft. Then Drake London goes, Derrick Henry, Mike Evans, Brandon Ayuk to Daniel Macy. Then we get Michael Pittman off the board. And after Michael Pittman, Nico Collins.
Nico Collins in the third round.
ESPN, the way might be hero RB. I don't know. No, you're good, TX. I hate that there's people in here on auto because it doesn't even help any of us.
Travis Etienne went in the 3rd round.
That's weird considering how high running backs go on ESPN.
Etienne went at the 212 in this last draft that we just did.
Achane that late too.
Etienne went at the 3 in our latest
okay.
one.
So it's not too bad. Holy shit, that's loud. We're gonna grab Diggs here, I guess. TD's on the clock.
Sam Laporta.
He goes Sam Laporta. Laporta. So Sam Laporta goes in the 3rd round here on ESPN.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen comes off the board for Jameson.
Jameson.
Who I was actually thinking about drafting too. Then we see Rashad White to Ethan's team. Man, this is so interesting.
How do you add somebody to the queue? It's so weird.
You have to do it before you draft.
Oh, like just add people to your queue?
Yeah.
So I'm on the clock. Who's taken? Rashad White? Oh, I'm on the clock. Shit. Okay, I'll take DK. I was so confused on who was on the clock there.
Yeah.
I was like waiting. Oh, because I turned off the sound. I was waiting for the sound. I was like, I'm waiting for that sound to go off.
Holy shit. ESPN has Evan Ingram as a tight end 5. Is that right? Tight end 3? 4? I don't know. Tight end 4 must be. DJ Moore comes off the board to Matt's team there, which I like. Imagine people who have never watched our stream before and they're joining now and they're like, what the hell is happening?
Like, what is this? This is stupid. I'm going to take Cooper Kupp here. Oh, that was stupid because I have Puka.
Yeah, I thought about... there's a certain name that I thought about as well, which I'm in that predicament.
That was dumb. I just saw Cooper Kupp. I was like, that's great value.
I'm surprised there's another name you love I thought you'd take.
Yeah, well, I was between the two. Is that the wide receiver position or the running back position?
Wide receiver position.
Okay, never mind. Let me see.
There's a name that you love.
I just can't. I'm not seeing it with the ADP here. So I definitely didn't see him. Okay, I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about.
Alvin Kamara goes off the board. Devonta Smith goes off the board. And the name I thought you were going to take is Tank Dell. But I already took Stephon Diggs, and now I'm annoyed that I took Stephon Diggs. I think we got to go running back here. Actually, fuck it. Give me Jalen Hurts. Oh, I didn't realize the format of this league. Oh, shit. Okay. This league, you can start 3 wide receivers, but oh,
like
no.
3 flex, 2 wide receivers and a flex.
1 flex, that's it.
Yeah.
You knew that? I would have drafted way different if I knew that.
Yeah, you can see it on the left side of your screen. Oh, are you just saying because you have multiple wide receivers now?
I did not draft thinking it was a start 3 wide receiver league.
Right. Okay.
I would have done it differently for sure. Although this might still work out in my favor here. All right. I'm going to grab... Aaron Jones here. That worked out. That's who I was thinking about earlier, is between Aaron Jones and James Cook and Ken Walker at that point.
Oh, look at this. That's pretty hot.
What?
A player.
Oh. Well, what does everybody think about ESPN? Does anybody have a league on ESPN?
I'll be honest with you, I want this to end as soon as possible.
What do you guys think?
I'm gonna take Mark Andrews here.
Jamathan says, I love the Josh Allen Kincaid stack. Jamathan says, but to the answer, ESPN is booty. TD says, I do, and it's not good. Macy says, I've yet to draft a running back. TX says, ESPN is not as good as Yahoo for redraft. Ethan says, I did last year, but hopefully I can convince everyone to move to Sleeper.
Yeah.
IQ says, I hate ESPN. I get it.
It's not fun. Joe Burr. Okay. I'd love to see it. I'll take Jahmyr Gibbs, Dave Montgomery, Puka, and Cooper Kupp. Why not? Let's have fun. Some fun.
I was born in the gutter. Chris Godwin goes. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of a little shocked at how far some of these running backs have fallen.
Yeah,
okay.
This is.
All right, I get to draft Ramondre Stevenson as my RB2 in that late. Okay. Look at the squad we're putting together, guys. Look at the left-hand side. Y'all see that? Got Jalen Hurts, Aaron Jones, Ramondre Stevenson, Jamar Chase, Marvin Harrison Jr., Stephon Diggs. Talk about a freaking powerhouse of a squad.
Mm-hmm.
All injured by week 3.
Honestly. How many rounds is this?
It's
round 7.
It's a great question.
There must be a lot of rounds. Look how many benches there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Damn, someone took Kyle Pitts. I was eyeing him up. The ADP on him was so far down the board.
Nick Chubb just went off the board.
Oh, GG's.
Brian Robinson, George Kittle.
Damn, I should have gone tight end that round. They want me to take David Njoku, and I don't want to do it. You can't make me. What I will do is draft Deontay Johnson.
David Johnson.
James Conner goes off the board. Okay, might put this on auto pick soon, not gonna lie.
Yeah, let's just get through this round. Because this is exactly how I'm feeling about this draft. I'm like, what? I don't understand like how people get excited to draft in this format. Like, I can't read what people have. You can't read the board. You have to be like, okay, like who's next on it? I have to click on. I
don't like
gotta
it
click
at
on their
all.
name and be like, what does he have? Oh, he's not gonna take a running back. Oh, this guy's not gonna take a tight end. Like, I can't read shit, my guy.
Can't even read.
Honestly, I see a league winner available. Huge mistake.
Why is Aaron Rodgers so far up the ADP?
Because he's freaking Aaron Rodgers, mate. Last round here, and then I'm going auto. I'm already on auto. Do you have another pick here?
Yep.
Yeah. After this pick, definitely auto here. I got a lot of stacks, I'll tell you.
All right.
Stacks with Gabe Monty.
We're gonna
stack with Puka Cooper. Stack with Jordan Love, Jaden Reed, Mark Andrews.
We'll draft Hollywood Brown there, and then we're gonna put ourselves on auto pick. How do we do that? There we go.
Hey, that was fun. Not really.
I don't ever want to do that again.
Please.
I never want
torture.
to do that again.
But that's the research we have to do. And what we found is that ESPN is shit.
Yeah.
And their ADP is terrible.
And we found out again. Pete Smith says, has the wide receiver heavy strat gone too far? I mainly play half PPR, but the 2023 top scorers are way more full of running backs than ADPs I've ever seen. I mean, please send me the link to the research you're talking about, because I genuinely am curious. I'd love to see that. From just the glance I took in today's stream, I feel like it's the opposite. But again, let me know, because I'd love to see it. Everything is still very fresh when it comes to a redraft perspective, in-season formats, one quarterback, trying to wrap our head around ADP, what strategy is going to fit the best. But from what I've seen based off of today's research, it's the opposite. But would love to send me a link to whatever it is that you're finding. What's up, Macy? He says Bean and Blazy are going to win the league.
Love that.
All right, let's finish off the stream with 4 questions. We'll answer 4 questions.
4 questions only.
4 questions and 4 questions only. By the way, if you do want access to our rankings for best ball and redraft, it's very simple. All you got to do is become a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. A lot of cool updates coming to the Flock Fantasy website that we are excited to share with you guys once we're able to, once they are released. But that website is just continually improving. It's funny because you think about what it looks like now, Badaki, compared to what it was when we first started.
Yeah, just
world's different.
World's different. We appreciate the dev teams really, putting time and effort in, making the best experiences for you guys. So
yeah.
Appreciate each and every one of you supporting us there, and it's only going to get better. Especially with this meeting that we had this earlier today. So we're definitely going to be seeing a lot more improvements, a lot more opportunities to support a lot of different creators in the way to go about it. But we appreciate you guys, and it's been awesome.
Yeah, 100%. That's going to be it for today. Drop a like on the stream on your way out. Daniel says, when will you guys be opening redraft leagues? I'm looking forward to Charlie. That's a great question. I have no idea the answer.
It'll probably be closer. It'll most likely be like middle of July. To be honest with you, Mason. Middle of July, early August, so we can give you time. Remember, we're going to do our redraft leagues right before the season starts. We like to do that a week before the season starts. Might do it back to back to back. I think we got 5 leagues, Monday through Friday. See you there.
Yeah.
But we'll send out that information. Just look out for it.
Yeah. All right, guys. All love. We'll see you soon. And Pete, feel free to tag me on Discord or something with that research if you like. All love. We appreciate you. See you soon, guys. Later.
Love.